Good morning. Again, this is M. I'm on the tirade. I'm doing these videos in this cold air, and it is cold. I live in Houston, and it's cold, but I have so much to celebrate. Just recently, I experienced the transitioning of my mother, the unexpected transitioning of my mother. And when I tell you unexpected, I mean unexpected. And so, when you have unexpected things happen like that for you spiritually, physically, mentally, you have to make adjustments. But if you've been dealing with the truth, for the most part, you're able to handle when truth happens. Truth is, we all have to leave someday. None of us know when that time will be, but we all have to leave. Seeing my mother leave, it's painful. It's excruciatingly painful because I'm going to miss her, because she's my mother, because a big void has been created in my universe that the person who birthed me into the world is no longer present with me on the planet. However, I know that she is present with me on the planet. Because I am present, she is present. I represent her. I represent what she meant, the best of herself, because our children represent the best of us. Sometimes we just don't know how to bring it out, how to cultivate it, but they represent the best in us. So I know I jumped into all that, but I just wanted to share that to let you know that I'm in a time of mourning, but yeah, at the same time, I'm on the job. And the reason why I'm on the job is because we all here to do what we all here to do. So likewise are you. So I want to talk to you about inner power. Inner power. And sometimes I play with words phonetically. I listen to the sound, how they vibrate in me, in my soul, my spirit. So when I see the word inner, I-N-N-E-R, power, I hear phonetically in her power. And that's why I wanted to start off talking about my mother. Because my mother was in her power. And how do you know? Because she held her family together. Listen, when you are in your power, because spiritual is a feminine thing. It's a feminine thing. And what I mean by feminine energy, more intimate energy, more opening and connecting and transparent energy, more loving and nurturing energy. It's not saying that masculine energy is negative. It's just different from from feminine energy. So the key to being in her power, inner power, first of all, is to understand that power itself is a result. We really have not known what power is. We have taken power to mean being able to beat somebody or pick up something heavy. Those are examples of force, applied force, right? But power itself, we don't acknowledge the existence of it until we recognize a result. So power, in all cases, is a result produced that matches your desire. And more importantly, it's a result produced that matches your desire that after you fulfill it, you still want it. Because one of the biggest problems that makes us feel spiritual powerless is the fact that there are things that we thought we wanted. Then when we got it, we didn't want it after we got it. So what we feel then? We feel certain emptiness, certain void, certain unhappiness, and that is not powerful. That is the opposite of power, because it's not the result we want. So power is all about producing the results that match the outcomes we want to experience for ourselves. So inner power, it's about alignment within self. Right now, the average person, mind, ego, is not in alignment with their inner self, with their soul. Your ego, which I consider the assigned ego, the ego that you were assigned, by this world. When the world, as Carl Jung once said to his students, he says, the world will ask you who you are, and if you say to the world you don't know, then the world will proceed to tell you who you are, and who the world tells you that you are becomes your ego. So essentially, your ego is an assigned way of thinking that has been assigned to you by this world, programmed into you through what we call at Soul Focus Group, your groundwater. So now that programming, which we call ego, for the average person is employed by the matrix, employed by the world. And it does more to keep you in step with the world than it does anything else. It was for this reason Napoleon Hill would admonish us to take possession of our mind and then direct it to an end of our own choosing. So when I first read that in Think and Grow Rich, best-selling book, I asked myself, well, don't we already have possession of our mind? I was like, that's interesting to list as a step, take possession of your mind, take full possession of your mind, and then direct it to an end of your own choosing. I realized then that the reason he said that was because we don't already have possession of our mind. Our mind is possessed by this world. And until we take possession of it, full possession, which simply means, code word, create our own ego. Create an ego in our own image and likeness. When I say own, in the image and likeness of our soul. In other words, our ego after our soul's own heart. So it's a soulmate. We need to create a soul-mated ego that is so bent on pleasing the soul until everything it does is about that. There's nothing that's your mind is focused on doing that is about pleasing, impressing, or proving anything to anybody else. I want you to imagine that. I want you to imagine that your mind gets up every morning, even when you're lying down and sleep at night, because your mind is a spiritual thing. And this spiritual apparatus or component that's a part of your life, all it's trying to do is satisfy your soul. Imagine that. All your mind is trying to do is satisfy your soul. Imagine that. That means every thought you think is in alignment with pleasing soul. Every thought you think is in harmony with who you really are. Your mind is not trying to figure out a way to how to leave a part of you behind. It's looking to generate all of you in every moment. So there's no moments that you walk out of that you feel incomplete, right? So the way you communicate, you accurately represent who you are internally to other people. You accurately represent what you feel, what you think, what you desire, your perspective, and your experiences. You accurately represent those realities every time you step into the room. You are never the same anytime you step into the room, but you're always authentic because you're always honest. Let me tell you something. That is the key to realizing your inner power. Because all of us have inner power. No one is without it. Even you see people doing destructive things to their life. That's them using their inner power to do destructive things, knowingly sometimes and unknowingly. The point is, I have never met a being in human form who wasn't powerful. I only met beings in human form who had an ego that was working more for the world than it was for them. And they were unable to discover what their inner power really was or what it really can do because they have gotten accustomed to not having what they want, not producing the results that are a match of what they desire. I'm M, Super Coach, CEO of the Soul Focus Group, where we are transforming the DEI, anti-racism, and equity work. We're bringing it to a whole nother level. We call it human solidarity. And human solidarity is rooted in the science of bringing out the best in people. That's at the Soul Focus Group. We bring out the best in people. I love you. I'm him.